Hi again. We're still working on our AutoCAD series. This is figure 8-4. Now, I'm looking at this. This is one of the reasons I don't like the grid. I've got a bunch of lines already on my screen, and I can hardly see them. So let's get rid of that grid right off the bat. So let's get into our drawing and get it out of here. Now, like I said, this is figure 8-4. Now, if you look right down here, for some reason the exercise on the disk when we downloaded it had figure 5-4. So I need to go in and edit that. So I need to change that 5 to an 8. And all I did is double-clicked on it until it highlighted, and then I just typed in what I wanted to say. So hit my escape key when I'm done with that, and I'm out of there. Now, this one is again one of those parts. This block is a simple little block with a counter board and a couple of countersinks in it. The funny part is, when I'm looking at it, I believe it's drawn at half scale. So we're going to look at that for a minute, see what we can do about that. But first off, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom all, and then we're going to do a couple of fillets. Now, our fillets in this case are going to be to round off this corner here and here. So I'm just going to go F for fillet and R for radius because it's got a 0 radius by default. I'm going to go 0.25, and I'm going to pick this line right here and this line right here. I'm going to do the same thing at the top side here. Now, the good news is, I'm going to look at my line types for a second. The drawing already set me up with some center lines, but the funny part is, see these center lines right here? And these over here, notice these are green and those are black. That tells me they're not on the right layer. In fact, these are on the object layer. So I'm going to pull it down and put them on the right layer, so I actually have things color coded correctly. All I did was I highlighted them, and then I pulled the bar down, the object bar, and selected the layer I wanted to move that stuff to. That's one of those easy tricks we don't always show everybody. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go in on this assignment, and we're going to turn on our O-snaps, and we're going to draw a few things. Now, first off, I've got a couple of holes to put on here. So, let's see, which one should we do first? Let's do the easy ones. Let's start over here on these two. So I'm going to go circle. I'm going to zoom right in and put it right on the center of that. So it's midpoint of that, center of that, intersection of that, all the same thing. Now, as I pull that out, I need a 0.125 radius circle right there. In fact, if I look in my book, I notice my circle tells me to be, let's find it and make sure I got the right one, because that would be bad, wouldn't it? Nope, nope, I'm at 0.25, not 0.125. Okay, oh, I got 2 decimals. Okay, 0.25, there he is. So the other one that's inside of that is a 0.125 radius. So there he is. Now, going out from that, I know I have a circle that sits right in the middle here that is a diameter of 0.625. I've got another circle that sits on here that has a radius of 0.5, and then I know I've got a hole that goes through the middle of it that is at, if I double check my stuff on this, should be at 0.125. So let me double check before we do anything, because you know that'd be awkward. But we're going to go in this, we're going to put him right there, and we're going to tell him to be 0.125, so it's a 1/4 inch hole. Now, that takes care of everything I need to do here. If we look at a couple things though, I've got 2 concentric circles here, I should have 2 here. These center marks mark the center of this radius here and the center radius here. These mark these concentric arcs here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my first 2 circles I did, those 2, from the midpoint right here, this is the very center of that circle, to the very center of that intersection right there. There they are. Now here, I know that this, if I project straight down, is that line right there. So that tells me what that is. That's not a problem. But I've got to have 2 more concentric circles. So what I'm noticing is that if I do a line, I'm going to change my line to my hidden line real quick, because these are cut holes. Okay, and actually in your text, step number 6 reads to set your layer to hidden. So instead of typing LA set hid, I pulled this down, I picked the hidden. That is that rough. From there, I simply draw a line off the quadrant. There's my quadrant right there. I can come down here and get the quadrant here, all the way through the perpendicular to that line. I'll do the same thing on this side, quadrant, all the way down. I'll do one more right here to that, and one more right here to this. Now, what I've done is I've made myself actually some construction lines, because I want a line that goes from here at, we're going to go 0.125, comma, minus 0.125, and it creates my diagonal line right there. And then I'm just going to bring that across across till I snap to perpendicular and up to that endpoint. At this point, I can trim this line and get rid of that and just erase these two because, like I said, they were construction lines. That is my countersink. So this is the above picture, and what I've basically got is a funnel-shaped countersunk hole in this block. So I'm just real simple to do, okay? And because this hole and that hole are directly in line with each other, I only have to draw it once. Now, I've got a counterbore hole here, which means I've got a hole that goes all the way through on this middle one, and this one notches in a certain amount. And in our case, if I look at our dimensions on this, it tells me to draw it in 1/8 of an inch. So I have to find out where it lines up first. So I'm going to make a line that comes off the quadrant right there, down here to this point. That's where D1 is supposed to be located according to figure 8-22. So I've now got to attach a line right here. It goes from here straight down 1/8 of an inch, or I type it in as the book says, at 0.125 less than 270 degrees, or minus 90, same thing. Then I point it straight out here to my right, and I tell it to go at 0.625 less than 0. And then I just bring it straight back up. Now, if I line it straight up, see it's going to go all the way up to there, but no, I only have to go up until I get perpendicular to this. That's all. So this first line I made was just to make sure I lined up in the right spot. So I can do that same thing, use that same principle to come off the quadrant right here and line it straight up right there, and then go all the way through the hole. Same thing happens on this side. From the quadrant to perp, all the way through to perp again, and then these lines just get to erase, and there's my hole. So that's a counterbore. Literally what happens is it's flat on the top, steps down to a cylinder area, and then steps down to a hole that goes all the way through. Now, the last thing the text tells us to do in this exercise is to copy our hidden lines over here to the right side view. So watch this. I'm going to go copy, and I'm going to use my window options. Probably the first time I've used it in this. All that's going to be selected is what's in the blue area. So the green line, this green center line, is not going to be selected. The black object lines are not going to be selected. The only thing I got was the red lines. Now I'm going to hit enter because I'm done selecting. I'm going to pick right here where the object line and the center line cross, and I'm going to bring them right over here to where the object and the center line meet, and then one more time where the object and center line meet there. There we go. That's simple. I'm going to repeat the process one more time. So I go copy, CP, enter. I select a window option that only completely encloses the red lines. The green line sticks out. All the black lines stick out of one spot or another. Select. I've only got red lines. I hit enter to select my grab point. So I'm going to grab it right here on the midpoint, drag it right over here to this midpoint or intersection, and click, and then hit enter key. My enter key, I'm done. That's the whole project. I've just got to put my name on it, and we're good to go. That's all it takes. Thank you for your time.